Why did Arjun get cursed? Arjuna the Pandav was cursed by Urvashi, an apsara or celestial nymph, because he rejected her romantic and sexual advances. This happened during his agyatvas, his exile, when he was living in the court of Indra, the king of the gods. Urvashi felt insulted by Arjuna's refusal, so she cursed him. She gave him a shrap that he would become impotent for a year, which he later used during his 1 year incognito life. Now, let me tell you the whole story. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to our channel and supporting our work by sharing. Thank you so much. Now, the Pandavas had lost everything through the Dyut Krida, and they were going through their 12 years long Vanvas. For part of this time, Arjun stayed in the court of Indra, Indrapuri, the king of the gods, and he was also his spiritual father. Now, what was he doing in Indra's court? He went there during his exile to obtain divine weapons and training to prepare for the impending war against the Kauravas. Indra, being his father, welcomed him and granted him various celestial weapons, divyastras, and other skills to aid him in the battle that was coming up ahead. The stay in Indra's court also provided Arjun with numerous adventures and experiences that enriched his character and abilities. This included training in non-combat skills too, including learning the arts. Arjuna was learning arts of Sangeet and Nritya Kala from the king of the Gandharvas, who's called Chitrasen. One day, when Arjun was practicing dance and music in the celestial court, there was a beautiful nymph, an apsara, who was considered to be one of the most of all of the worlds. Her name was Urvashi, and she had been observing the determination with which Arjun was engrossed and he was practicing, and she fell in love with him. Urvashi was an apsara, a celestial being who was known to be the most beautiful in all of the worlds, and she was considered the pride of Indra's court. Urvashi approached Arjun, dressed in her finest attire, and she expressed her desire to be with him. However, Arjun respectfully declined her proposal. He explained that she was like a mother to him because he was descended from the same lineage as his ancestors. Because Urvashi, thousands of years ago, had been married to one of his ancestors, King Pururavas, and therefore she was like a mother figure for him. Urvashi was naturally filled with rage. Her pride was hurt. She was sought after by so many, and here she was trying to convince Arjun, a mere human, a mortal, who was rejecting her romantic advances. Urvashi tried to convince him, saying that she was an immortal, an apsara. She doesn't have the same rules applied to her as humans. She's not as limited as they are, and that she as an apsara is free to their choice of who to love. But Arjun said no matter what. Feeling insulted and humiliated by Arjun's rejection, Urvashi cursed him to lose his manhood and transform him into a eunuch. Indra, seeing his son's predicament, asked Urvashi to modify her curse so that it would only be effective for 1 year, and it would actually end up being helpful for Arjun because it would be a disguise during his 1 year incognito exile where they had to stay in hiding, the Pandavas, so they are not caught. Otherwise, they would have to repeat their entire 12-year cycle of Vanvas all over again. So initially, what seemed like a punishment, the curse actually ended up being a blessing in disguise because it provided Arjun with this disguise. And he was able to use this curse to his advantage because when he was in his agyatvas, he was serving in the court of King Virat, and he lived as a eunuch named Brihannala in the court of King Virat. Despite the curse, Arjun's valor, his skills, his bravery all remained intact. As Brihannala, he taught the arts to King Virat's daughter, Uttara. Eventually, after the agyatvas was over, his identity as Arjun was revealed, and King Virat offered Uttara's hand in marriage to Arjuna. Like with Urvashi, Arjuna actually once again respectfully declined. He said no. But this time, he said that he had been like a teacher with Uttara who was a student. And a teacher-student relationship is just like a parent-child relationship. But instead, he would love to have her become his daughter-in-law through having her marry his son Abhimanyu, which Virat happily accepted. So the kingdom of Virat also ended up becoming an ally to the Pandavas in their Kurukshetra war, and of course helped them during their exile. So that's it for today's video, dear viewers. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.